A Shed for Edward, rewritten. Edward is one of the oldest engines on the Northwestern Railway. He was one of the first few engines to be brought to the island to help build the railway. He also runs a branch line that runs from Wellsworth to Brendam Docks. But he doesn't run it alone. He also runs it alongside Boco, the Metropolitan Vickers diesel-electric Type 2 diesel engine. Good morning, Edward. Good morning, Boco. How have the goods trains been? They have been quite good. The trucks have been on their best behaviour lately. That's good to hear. Suddenly, the two heard a sound coming from the bottom of Gordon's Hill. Suddenly, in a flash of red, James thundered by. Be careful, James. You'll end up in an accident at that speed. But I'm the fastest red engine on Sodor. And James raced off into the distance. He'll be in an accident if he isn't careful, said Boco. At the speed he's going at, I wouldn't be surprised, said Edward. They both chuckled at that. Meanwhile, James was still racing down the main line at reckless speeds. Then there was trouble. Neither the driver or fireman could shut off steam and apply the brakes. Something had jammed. The driver reduced steam, but James was still going too fast. Then, as he entered the yards of Tidmouth Sheds, disaster struck. James crashed right into the back of Tidmouth Sheds and had to go to the works for repairs. The Fat Controller then told the other engines where to sleep in different sheds until Tidmouth Sheds was repaired. Thomas and Percy, you two will sleep up at Farquhar where your first train of the day will start until Tidmouth Sheds is repaired, Thomas. Yes, sir. Gordon and Emily, you two will sleep at Knapford Sheds with Murdoch, Bear, and Dennis. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Henry, you will sleep up at Vicarstown after your run with the Flying Kipper. Yes, sir. And Edward, you will sleep up at Wellsworth where your first train of the day will start until Tidmouth Sheds is repaired. Yes, sir. This will just be temporary until Tidmouth Sheds is repaired. Anyway, do you all know where you're all sleeping? Yes, sir. Excellent. Good night, engines. Good night, sir. So, the engines slept at different sheds till Tidmouth Sheds was repaired. Thomas and Percy slept at Farquhar. Gordon and Emily slept at Knapford Sheds. Henry slept up at Vicarstown. And Edward slept up at Wellsworth with Boco. Good evening, Edward. What brings you here tonight? Edward explained about James and the damage done to Tidmouth Sheds. Oh well, at least you'll be at the side of your branch line for a while. Indeed, Boco. Anyway, let's get some sleep. And so, Edward and Boco went to sleep. The next morning, Edward woke up and got his first train of the day ready to go. Soon, Edward brought his train to the platform and waited for the guard to blow his whistle. Soon the guard blew his whistle and Edward set off down his branch line. As Edward made his way down his branch line, he began to think about something. If I can move to Wellsworth, then I can get some better sleep. I mean, back when my service started at Knapford, it was alright, but now that my service starts at Wellsworth, I need to get up early, and besides, I really need my sleep, although I doubt my friends are gonna like my decision. Shortly after Edward came back up his branch line, he saw the Fat Controller. Excuse me, sir, can I talk to you for a minute? Of course, Edward. What would that be? Well, you see, sir, ever since my service started at Wellsworth, I've had to get up early in the morning to go from Tidmouth Sheds all the way to Wellsworth. I mean, it was fine when it used to start at Knapford, but since it started at Wellsworth, I've had to get up early, and I really need my sleep. So I was wondering if I could move to Wellsworth, if that's okay with you. Well, Edward, if you want to move to Wellsworth, then that's okay with me. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. However, before I move to Wellsworth, I need to tell my friends the news. A few days later, Tidmouth Sheds was repaired, and James's repairs were almost finished, and the engines were once again back in the sheds after a hard day's work. It is nice to be back in these sheds again. Agreed, said Henry. I wonder where Edward is. He should have been back by now. Maybe he was held up by a faulty signal, said Percy. Just then, Edward pulled up and stopped on the turntable. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to see you all here, since I need to tell you all something. What is it, Edward? Edward took a deep breath and told them that he was moving from Tidmouth Sheds to Wellsworth Sheds. The other engines were surprised to hear this. Ever since my service started at Wellsworth, I've had to get up very early in the morning to get to my first train of the day. Back when it started at Knapford, it was okay, but since now I need to get up early in the morning to get to my first train of the day, I haven't been getting enough sleep, and I believe I speak for all of us when I say that we need our sleep. The other engines looked at each other until Percy broke the silence. So, you're really leaving? I'm afraid so, Percy, but don't worry, it's not like I'm leaving Sodor, and besides, it's not like I can sleep here every now and then. But won't you be lonely up in Wellsworth? Don't worry, Henry, I've got Boco up there to keep me company. Well, Edward, we're going to miss you here at the sheds, but we're happy for you. Thank you, Thomas, and to the rest of you. Anyway, I'd better be going to Wellsworth now. Good night, you. Good night, everyone. Good night, Edward. Gordon, you can let go. Don't go. That evening, Edward backed into his new shed. Busy day, Edward? Indeed, Boco. However, Edward had fallen asleep. The next morning, Edward was waiting for the mainline connection. which was pulled by James, who had a concerned expression on his face. Morning, James. Morning, Edward. You've really moved out of Tidmouth Sheds? Yep, I now sleep at the start of my branch line now. Look, if this is about my accident which damaged the sheds, I'm sorry, I didn't mean... It's fine, James, don't worry about it. If anything, your accident was a happy one. I got to sleep at the start of my branch line, which is a good thing for me since now I can get a proper amount of sleep from now on. I still feel like I caused all this, though. You shouldn't, James, and I don't blame you. Thank you, Edward, although I believe you should talk to Gordon since he's having it more than the rest of us. I'll see if I can talk to him next time I see him. Just then, the guard blew his whistle and Edward had to go. Well, I'd better be going. See you later, James. See you later, Edward. Make sure to visit us at Tidmouth Sheds every now and then. I will. Edward set off down his branch line and was a much happier engine. Not only was he able to get enough sleep, but was also able to be right on time with his trains and have enough energy to get through the day. But Edward wouldn't be the only engine leaving Tidmouth Sheds. But that's another story. The end.